And we are recording.
Whoa! Look at that lie. You look beautiful.
You like
Well,
that?
you may be honest, or you may lie to you.
Shut up.
So neither.
Jesus. Okay. Here we go. Welcome to Live Fire Media Show. I'm Kawaka 47, also known as High Point Dave. And this is the always entertaining and enigmatic Hunter Elliott of RangeHot.com. What are you drinking tonight? I've got a glass of wine.
I'm having mezcal, man.
I'm all like sophisticated and shit.
Yeah, well, you know that's how you've been since I've known you. You be proud of me. I haven't had nothing to drink in a while, but I'm having a little mezcal tonight because I've been working on. I've been doing photography all day.
Nice.
And I'm gonna tell you what, man. It was a very, very, very challenging pistol to photograph.
Can you share that pistol?
I can. Probably not supposed to, but I mean, there's no way they're gonna fire me because I'm amazing.
Listen to you. I'm amazing.
So, you know what I'm gonna do to make this a little.
1911, but what the hell kind of 1911 is that?
So let me see here if I can. It's gonna be. That's gonna be hard to make where you can see it.
Yeah, it's just kind of bouncing back. So it's 1911. It's like a commemorative or something.
So
a long slide too.
No, it's a.
No, maybe it's not. Okay.
This is a Taylor edition.
Okay.
And it is honoring the Incan god of the night.
Interesting.
However, you can see the stocks on it. The pistol is a high polished blue.
Okay.
The slide and the stocks and the receiver is kind of a polished blue, but it's like a mirror.
Well, now I get what you mean by I have a hard time photoing that because, yeah, it's mirror finish. That's kind of a bitch in itself, but it's going to look cool, though.
It's so reflective. And so I did one 2 weeks ago, the Incan God of the Sun. And so I went to Hobby Lobby, one of my favorite places to go, by the way. Love Hobby Lobby. And got some of their fabric. And for the Incan God of the Sun, I got this kind of a orangish red fabric.
Right.
Pulled it taut, photographed the gun. It was amazing. It was beautiful. You can see that on Taylor's website, I'm sure, now.
Oh, cool. Let's check it out.
This one was proofed at SHOT Show. And so it came in a couple days ago. And so what I did is I saw what Taylor does is, or what Baron Engraving will do, they'll get like a square of steel.
Okay.
And they'll put whatever finish that the 1911 or whatever finish the gun is going to have. They will finish that square of steel in that finish. And then they do the engravings on that. So like you'll see the slide.
Right.
And it's to scale and it looks identical to what the engraving on the slide is going to look like. And it's a really good way to proof it because you've got a piece of steel there with the same finish and both sides you can look at and compare. So they showed that to me at SHOT. And so I went to Hobby Lobby, man, and I got this crushed velvet that is kind of a royal blue.
Okay.
And I laid it out taut, and then I took a couple strobe. Of course, I had two strobes indirect lighting the gun and the background. Then I took a couple little small, like tiny little strobes, and I kind of just laid them flat to where they were pointing directly at that background. And right. So when everything went off, it looks like the night sky with 1,000 little stars shimmering.
Oh, that's cool.
All around it. Yeah, I mean I'm halfway done editing them, and oh my God, But Dave, it's like trying to photograph a mirror.
Right.
You know, and so I've been messing with it all day. I had Candy coming here, you know, you shoot, you load, you're like, that's almost, and you shoot. And so I'm really tired. My brain is really tired. And so I thought I would have some adult libations just to kind of, relax the old brain housing group.
Nothing wrong with that. It was funny. It was my wife's been getting a bottle of wine every now and again, and so we'll drink some wine here and there. But we don't drink like a whole bottle in a night because we don't drink that much. But pull the cork on it. I've got like a replaceable, like a silicone rubber style
And you pump
cork.
it. You pump the
No, it's not one of those. It just goes in, just a replacement cork. But like 2-3 times now, we found the bottle was sitting there open. It was like, what the hell? And the little cork is like on the countertop. I was like, what the hell's going on? So just tonight, the wife's like, well, maybe we need to drink more out of it. I was like, you want a glass? She's like, yeah. I was like, I'll pour myself a glass too. And then I took that cork and it went right down and nice and fit. I'm like, maybe we're good now. I'm like, I don't know.
Like, do you think it's compressing some of the air inside?
I think so. I think that's what it was doing. I think just means you just need to finish the bottle. I mean, it's only a couple glasses, really.
Cool. So
I used to like my dad. Like late in high school, my dad got really big into wine, and I actually got to have a fair amount of wine at dinners on a regular basis, and I kind of listened and learned, and kind of had a pretty good idea of wines back in the day.
I don't know anything about them.
Well, but like I said, that was like I was in high school in early 20s, and it was cool. And I still good wine is still good wine, but now to ask me, I don't have a fucking clue. If it's good, it's good. I know that cheap shit wine is cheap shit wine. Beyond that, you don't have to spend a lot to get good wine, though. That's for damn sure.
Right.
So,
well, I had this other project I've been working on today. If I can tell you about it.
Yeah, go for it.
So this is a new Talo. This is a new Talo gun, and I know it sucks, but it's a Mossberg.
So is it a semi-auto shotgun?
Yeah, it's a Mossberg 940 Pro.
Yeah.
Turkey gun, and it's got a daggum optic.
Yeah, because I've seen the 940s. They're built in like that. It's badass.
Yeah, and so this is a turkey gun, and so my Uncle Larry is he knows more about turkey hunting than I know about 1911s. He's actually been featured on a number of TV programs calling up turkeys for people. Huh. And so Mossberg and Talo kind of reached out.
It says Taylor, it's not Talo.
Yeah, Talo. Like they do the special edition. So
yeah.
Special edition Talo, and they wanted some lifestyle photos. So like
Googie was calling up Taylor's for me, which I was Talo's totally different. Dumbasses. Yeah.
So that's cool. So my uncle, I don't think I got any. So he's got like turkey beards, and he's got some turkey calls, like $2,000 or $3,000 box calls, and super expensive like hand calls. And so he brings this box of just props, and so we spent this afternoon doing that, and I got photos of him. Like he's got a straight up ghillie suit.
Yeah.
And I did all the photos of him, the lifestyle stuff with all his props today. Now that I enjoyed. I threw in my Ford truck.
That's cool. Either I'm retarded or Google's retarded, because every time I type in Talo, it's like forcing me to Taylor's. It's like, no, you dumb shit.
Type in Talo distributor.
It's going to Taylor. What the hell? I don't know. Whatever.
It should give you. Hold on. I think it's Talo.
Taylor distributor. There it is. Now I think it pulled up. God, Google's there's that Mossberg. Okay, Google's being retarded. Like, no, I typed in Taylor, not Taylor's, you jackass.
Yeah, well.
Interesting though on them doing a Mossberg turkey shotgun. That.
Well, Kane Kennedy is he's running that now. Bob Coyle retired. Has it been a year? Maybe, yeah, about a year or so ago. And they do a lot with Ruger. They do a lot with Colt. Do a lot of 1911s, and I do most of their photography.
I thought you were do most of
Yeah,
it.
I do. I do probably. Well, I used to do about a 1911 a month for them,
Right.
and then last year it was a little slow. I was doing about one every 6 weeks, and in the past month, this is my second one I've done, and then
Nice.
this shotgun, which I'm very thankful for because I gotta. Now you're gonna have to tell me to stop talking about this, but I did a thing.
A thing. Oh, your flatbed.
That's mine. It's a it's a 1989
89. Oh my God.
F-350.
How's it not rusted to shit?
Well, most of its life it lived in Hendersonville, which is western North Carolina, but not the mountains.
Okay.
So, and the guy bought it about a year ago, and he loved it, loved the truck. However, he had knee surgery a few weeks ago, a few months ago, and it's a factory 5-speed. And I don't know what the poundage on the pressure plate is, but I mean, you got to step on that clutch. It's a hellacious clutch. So he was telling me, he goes,
It's like old school as shit.
oh yeah, man. He said, Hunter, I drive this truck, and I can't walk the next day. My knee hurts so bad.
Oh God, you're gonna be beat up from it then too.
I know, because I'm a damn man. My shit's on point.
Because I'm mostly because I'm a damn man.
But it's
telling yourself that.
factory 4-wheel drive, factory 5-speed, and it dumps.
Oh, and it dumps.
And it's a 7.3 IDI diesel.
That means nothing to me, man.
It's pre-Power Stroke,
Okay.
and it'll run off
Not
like
that much.
oh well, it'll run off engine oil, it'll run off kerosene.
I gotcha.
You can mix that stuff with the diesel, and it'll run fine.
Right.
It has no ECM.
So hella good engine then.
Yeah, I mean it's by today's standards, it's pretty weak. It's making about probably 360 foot-pounds of torque.
Sure.
Whereas I got a 2014 F-350 dump truck, and it's making almost 1,000 foot-pounds of torque.
Right.
From Ford.
Right.
But it's geared low. I think it's
right.
I looked up the gear code, and it's either 456 or 410s. And that's as far as I could get without I got to go to like a Ford VIN decoder to figure out. But
right.
You know what, man? I love it. And now it's loud. It rides like shit. It's a straight front axle. It's leaf springs all the way around. So it's loud. It rides like a horse and buggy. It stinks like an old diesel.
Uh-huh.
I love it. I love it. I took Candy for a ride in it, and
she's like never again.
She was sick of it before we got out of the driveway.
Uh-huh.
And then I took my mama for a ride, and mama was like, "This reminds me of your granddaddy's old farm truck."
Nice.
So
nice.
The first and second gears are straight cut gears, so they're super noisy. So like when you let on a clutch in first gear, it's like right. Second gear.
That was your cat's mating.
But that could have been a couple cats banging out. So man, it's old junk. It needs a lot. Well, it needs a lot of little stuff, which I've been like, I bought it, and every day I'm trying to check something off the list.
Right.
And stuff that's a little over my head, I'm bringing friends in that know more than I do to kind of help me out with it.
Sure. And
I tell you what, it's a fucking truck, brother. It is a truck. I took it to the dump today, and there was all these guys in their little, 2024 half-ton Chevrolet with heated seats, and they see that, they're like, man, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so they're looking at going, yeah, hell yeah, that's a truck.
It ain't got no sensors on it. It ain't got nothing, man. Just
right.
But anyway, I'm
yeah. When trucks were trucks, that's really what it boils
down to. Exactly. But
so here's I got a random one for you.
Okay.
Pizza Hut or Domino's?
A Pizza Hut, man, for sure.
Just straight up Pizza Hut.
Yeah, absolutely. Way over Domino's.
Okay. It's interesting.
And all right. let me
Spit it out. No, spit it out. Go for it.
Justify it?
Yeah, I want you to justify it. Why?
Man, has somebody ever said something to you, Dave, just something simple like Pizza Hut, and this deluge of memories comes crashing back?
For sure.
So something I haven't thought of in 15 years, man. And you said
Right.
Pizza Hut.
Right.
My father, when I was a good boy, my best friend growing up, his name was Rodney. And when I was a good boy and, we did good and did good at school, my daddy would take Rodney and I, and my mom and my daddy,
Sure.
would take, and Rodney was like my brother from another mother. You know what I mean? We were inseparable through elementary and middle and some high school.
Right.
Way, whatever. He would take us to Pizza Hut. And so, and my father would give me he'd give Rodney and I like 10 or 15 bucks in quarters.
Oh shit, that's a lot.
Yeah. And so I'd order one of them personal deep dish meat lovers pizza.
Yeah.
With a Coke. And, you order it and it takes about 20 minutes for that thing to come out.
Right.
So we would go by the jukebox and we'd fill up the jukebox and we'd have, they didn't have like Slayer and Motorhead, but they had like old school Motley Crue and stuff like that. So we would play like old school Motley Crue and, they would have like the Blue Oyster Cult, 80s rock and roll.
Yeah.
Led Zeppelin for sure, the Doors. And then the remnants of the quarters.
It's more like late 60s and 70s, pal. It's not just 80s.
Yeah. All right.
I get your point.
And the piece de resistance, they had. Do you remember the video game called Dragon Slayer?
Oh yeah.
And it was like a cartoon.
Yes.
And they had that there.
And that was always like one of the hardest damn games ever.
And it was. And beside Dragon Slayer was Gauntlet.
Yep.
And they had like Dragon Slayer and Gauntlet and 3 or 4 like of the coolest. Joust. Do you remember Joust?
Don't remember Joust.
The night he rode an ostrich, and it was like 2 levels, a level, and you were jousting other ostriches.
I don't remember that one.
It was so awesome. And so here we are playing Dragon Slayer, or probably we played a lot of Gauntlet.
Right.
We'd be playing Gauntlet, Warrior needs food badly. And, Zeppelin or the Doors I think they had a Black Sabbath, 45. And so we're listening to Zeppelin or the Doors or Black Sabbath, playing Gauntlet, with a large.
Smelling pizza baking, just salivating.
Pizza. And then my father would say, hey, your food is here. You look over the table and we were kings, man. We were kings.
It's funny because I think we've talked about before. I think you got about 10 years on me. And I don't remember dining in Pizza Hut that much, but I remember at least when carryout was like the big thing. And I'd go with my dad on a Friday or Saturday night and we'd go get pizza and go to Pizza Hut typically. And of course it was the super like dark aesthetic. The place was jam-packed, people sitting and eating. The place was jam-packed, shoulder to shoulder, ass to crotch, waiting for pizzas. And my number, they had it revolved around. I remember seeing Dragon Slayer, but for the most part, I always remember they having the desk like tabletop down one, so you had to like sit down in the chair.
Like Pac-Man.
It had like Pac-Man and like Centipede and shit. And I remember all of us other kids waiting, we were like just dying to just play something, even though we had Nintendo at home, which was honestly had better games than that then. But it was still cool because you're still cool there at Pizza Hut playing it, smelling that pizza, going, I'm gonna go home and eat a bunch of this pizza. This is gonna be awesome, I totally get that. You say pizza, that's my first thing I think of is that for me, that was probably like mid to late 80s. I can think of that and still smell that. And it's just,
This would have probably been in 82, 83 for me.
Yeah, so I've been like 89, 88, 89, something like that probably.
And we would, they'd bring the pizza to the table. Then me and my mom and dad and Rodney would all eat. And then my dad would he's like, look, of course, now you get a pitcher of beer there for $4.
Right.
So my dad would have 2 pitchers of beer which we were not allowed to near. And he would say, "Look, boys, you got until I finish these beers, or you run out of quarters."
Right.
And then we're gonna go home and we're gonna watch. Do you remember Joe Bob Briggs?
Oh yeah.
And he did this. It was Joe Bob Briggs, and then he did all the B-roll campy horror movies.
See, I remember watching Joe Bob Briggs doing that on TNT,
but
like
he
Friday,
also
Saturday nights.
Channel.
It was what?
He also did it on the movie channel in a similar era, if my memory serves. And so we would play, Gauntlet or Dragon's Lair and eat pizza and drink Coca-Cola until we were done. And then Dad would take me home. And then him and my mama would go to bed.
Right. And you guys watch Joe Bob Briggs and hosting.
Yeah, or a lot of times Mom would go to bed and my old man would sit up with us and we'd watch Joe Bob Briggs on the movie channel, and it would be like Blob and Creature from the Black Lagoon and Frankenstein and all those, man. And and I hadn't thought about that in 20 years, man. And when you said that, awesome. It was like I just had this deluge of memories just wash over me.
That's fucking awesome, though.
Right?
It's funny. Like, you ask me pizza at Domino's. It depends on what I'm doing. If I'm feeding a bunch of other kids, it's Domino's. I can get pizza super cheap and they're super efficient. The local one, every time I go in there, there's always at least a dozen people working there, busting their asses 24/7. You go to Pizza Hut and there's like 3 people, and they don't give 2 shits that you're there.
Yeah.
But flavor wise, though, I still always take Pizza Hut over Domino's.
Man,
their flavor's still just that good. But still, every time I eat a Pizza Hut pizza, I can still go back to that memories and those thoughts of going and picking up pizza with my dad, playing Pac-Man, and obviously then even being an older kid coming home, and watching Joe Bob Briggs sharing a movie on TNT.
Yeah.
Which those days of TNT, him sharing movies, it wasn't always B movies. Sometimes it's good movies. Like, I remember he watched like the Fly one time with Jeff Goldblum, The Fly, not the Vincent Price.
And when he transformed into the Fly.
But I remember Briggs would always do like his movie stats of like how many boobies are on the movie, but you're not going to see him because you're on TNT. How many people get killed? He would just do different like facts and stuff, and it just that shit was awesome. It just that could all totally correlate back into Pizza Hut for me as well. It's just that's funny and cool.
Man, wow. That's just what a man. I tell you what it made.
You said it right, dude. We were kings, man.
We were kings, man. I remember I would try to time it where like I'd put quarters in the jukebox, and normally I'd like to kick off with Cashmere from Zeppelin.
Nice.
So we would start our first game of Gauntlet, and you could play up to 4 people,
right?
In Gauntlet, and so there was always other kids there. Sometimes we might know 1 or 2 of them, but we'd find 4 people to play, and the 4 of us would sit around there, and it'd be like Cashmere. And then Riders on the Storm, we do the Doors, and man, it was great. And you know what? Here's the thing, man. There were never no problems. There were never no fights.
Right.
There was never no. Everybody was just partying at Pizza Hut. All the dads were half drunk. All the moms were, they were getting there, and the kids were, like somebody'd say, "Hey, look, they'd go over to my dad, Ronnie, say, "We're leaving, but my son's playing video games with your boy. Can you drop him off?" Now, dad, I would know this kid from school, but my dad wouldn't. He's like, "Hell yeah. Y'all
right.
We're going to be here another hour playing video games." And if your boy runs out of quarters, my old man, he'd have a pocket full.
Right.
And it won't ever a problem, man. Wow. But nowadays, it ain't like that.
Well, it's funny. It's like local to me. There's 2 like retro arcade shops around here, and I think one's close to the town that I'm in. I've not been to it, but I think it actually is like a bar too. But then, there is a bar downtown that, as long as you're drinking, the games are free.
Oh no, that's awesome!
I haven't been to it yet. Several buddies have told me about it, and I'm like, "Oh my god, you guys, we got to go! That'd be so much fun." And I can't say like they're gonna be vintage games, but I think it's a combination of 80s, 90s into probably the early 2000s, arcade games. But the fact that you could literally stand there, go to the bar, grab a pint, go over and play some Street Fighter or play some Pac-Man. How absolutely insanely cool and fun would that be? And just getting wasted playing these old classic stupid games because you're still thinking of this kind of shit. You know what I mean?
Right. Man, I remember when Mortal Kombat come out.
Oh yeah,
and
the controversy behind it, and
the blood and all the gore and shit. I
remember playing the shit out of that in the arcade. And I remember getting I had a Sega Genesis, getting on that, and it actually had the blood in it. So people were like, "Oh, it's got the blood," and it was like, "Yeah." My mom was like, "This doesn't seem very nice." My dad's like, "It's a fucking game. Who cares?"
Yeah,
it just looked cool, and he thought it looked cool even then too.
Wow, man, what a
trip, huh?
What a trip! What a memory lane! Wow.
Well, that was a pretty good lead-in. I was just thinking about this because, like I said, I had to go grab pizza Saturday night, and I had time to kind of reflect and think about it because I had my brother-in-law's three little kids here. And so I was like, all right, we're going to do Domino's Pizza, get their medium pizzas cheap, order it. And they had their little tracker thing.
Yeah.
My kid and I finished playing a game. So I was like, man, the tracker hasn't moved. I was like, whatever. Wife and I wanted some fried chicken. Haven't had fried chicken in forever. So we go get some fried chicken Popeyes. I swing it over to Domino's. And the parking lot's slammed. I'm like, oh, shit, this can't be good. We walk in. There was like half dozen people standing inside waiting. I was like, oh, shit, this is not good. Saturday night, I'm like, this has got to be something more than just regular Saturday night. They got to be just like something's gone down where they're super slammed.
Right.
And lady finally asked me, flustered, I'll get out for my name, tell her the name. She's like, yeah, your pizza's not ready. I was like, okay, no problem. I looked around and I counted like 20 people working, all of them doing something physically, all of them just busting ass the entire time. I was like, I looked at Mason, he went with me, and I was like, dude, we might be here for a minute, just watch and enjoy. He's like, yeah, okay, that's fine. That's cool. And even like some irate guy comes in all pissed off, shows his phone, how the tracker shows completed. He throws his phone on the counter. It said, my pizza's ready. And where's it at? And they're just like, he's like, I want your corporate number. I literally looked at the guy thinking, dude, open your fucking eyes. They are all busting ass. Every person in here. Don't be irate, man. It's going to get you nowhere.
So, I'd like to expand on that.
Sure.
And you're right. You're right. Don't be irate. I was coming back, man. We were coming back from Beijing. I'd been in Beijing for 2 weeks, and we landed in D.C. And we landed in D.C., and our connecting flight was delayed and then canceled.
Right. And
I was with my buddy, Bo Foy, with Band Aerial Down, and we were over there filming. And so, like, this tsunami of pissed off travelers rushes the desk, and they're just yelling, and each one of them just yelling. Now this lady, she's deer in the headlights,
right?
And Bo's like, watch this. Now I travel a lot. I've been to 11 countries, man, but he's been to 3 times that many, and he travels a lot. So he goes, watch this. This is how you make shit happen. So he gets to the counter, and the lady's flustered. She's looking at him, waiting for him to unleash this rage. And he's like, you look like you're pretty wiped out. Why don't you just take a minute and collect your thoughts? Right. The lady's like, phew. So, she finishes typing. She takes about 5 or 6 minutes to finish typing shit. Bo's just standing there. He's humming a song and just being cool, And
right. He's totally chill.
Totally chill. And there's like people behind him yelling, and he's like, hey, look, fucker, I waited in line. It's my turn. Be quiet.
Yeah.
And he turned back to the lady, and she's like, oh, okay, sir, now how can I help you? And, hey, we were on this flight. It was at, I don't remember what airport it was, but it wasn't Reagan. It was Dulles, maybe? Dulles?
Sure.
Yeah, anyway. He's like, look, our flight was canceled. It happens. There was a mechanical problem with the plane. And Bo's like, hey, I would rather y'all cancel the flight than put me up in a broke-ass plane.
No shit.
And she's like, oh, yes, sir, I'm really sorry. And he goes, look, I know. He's like, did you go out there and break the plane? Were you out there with a wrench, loosen it? And, well, no. And he goes, then what are you sorry for?
Right.
It's fine. It's
the damn thing.
And he just laid it on thick as honey, man. He goes, it's not a problem. I just want to know what my options are. What can I do? What should I be preparing for? But he was very just cordial and yes, ma'am, and no, ma'am. And so she gets on her computer and she leans in. She says, there's a flight leaving Reagan in like an hour and a half. She's like, I can get you tickets for that. And Bo's like, well, okay, how much will they be? And she said, we'll cover the tickets and we'll cover the cab fare, and I'm going to call you a cab.
Oh, shit.
And Bo's like, that would be great. I'd really appreciate that. Now she's leaning over telling him this,
right.
And she hands us 2 vouchers for the cab and 2 vouchers for airline tickets. And she picks up the phone and makes a phone call. We walk outside and there's a cab. Takes us right to Reagan. I give the guy the 2 vouchers in like $10.
Right.
And he goes on. We get to exactly where she said go. And I give her, he's got the vouchers, and he gives it to the lady there behind the desk. She prints us out 2 tickets. And she's like, we'll be boarding in about 30 minutes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I get, like, when you get annoyed by something, there's certainly time and place to be irate, but 90% of the time, it's not worth it.
If it's just gross,
it's not worth it.
Incompetence.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
that's the thing that killed me. Like, that dude walked into Domino's. I mean, and you could see like it was a double or triple stack oven. You could see it was pizza after pizza, like 2 of them side by side, just stacked one after another. And it was like, I literally kept looking at the dude. I'm sure if he looked at me and probably saw my look, the look was like, you're a fucking idiot. It's like, you can see every person here is busting their ass. He asked for the manager, store manager. She's over here. She's literally making a pizza. She literally goes, just Compton's Pizza. I don't have time for this shit. It's like, oh my God. Because like at the same time, these 2 girls are answering calls. They're like, oh, you want delivery? It's going to be 3 hours. Oh, you want carry out? It's going to be at least 2 hours. They were that slammed,
But they can't.
Just roll with it. Yeah, exactly. They can't handle it. It's not their fault. So finally, I see my pizzas come out because of the different box because I got deep dish. And so I was like, oh, that's us. She calls us. I come over. And she's like, oh, you need your garlic sauce. I was like, yeah. And she's like, I'm so sorry about that. I said, don't be sorry. You guys are absolutely slammed. I was like, do yourself a favor. Hang in there. And she looks at me. She just goes, you see your all tension. She just goes, oh, thank you.
That's right.
Like,
somebody not been an asshole.
I mean, and I walked outside, and Mason and I get in the truck, and that guy's out there on his phone bitching this up a storm to his wife about the pizzas. And I was just like, dude, then just go to Pizza Hut. It's right there. It's like next door. Like, this is stupid, man. And of course, in pizza, you roll past Pizza Hut, and there was like 3 people working. There was nobody in there. It was just dead.
Right.
So Domino's just had it going on Saturday night, apparently.
It happens.
Yeah. That's a trip.
So I got a question for you, Dave. This is one that's been ongoing fucking with me now for about a month.
Okay, fire away.
This is the second time I've had this happen. Somebody goes to rangeHot.com,
okay,
and they right click and steals a photo. And they use it as their thumbnail for their video.
Oh, you're shitting me.
No.
Report them.
So I did. I try to be cool.
I'd message them first, say, yo, if you're stealing my shit, give me credit. Tag me in your video.
First guy did it. I reached out to him, and I shot him a message, and I'm like, hey, man, this is my photograph. And now I did a YouTube short about it.
Right.
Because the first guy was so stupid, he didn't even crop off rangeHot.com watermark.
Jesus.
And I messaged him like, hey, man, you stole my photo off my website, bro, and use it as your thumbnail. It's for Dan Wesson.
Right.
And I'm like, not cool.
Was this video at least related?
It was wine to never buy Dan Wesson.
Oh, God. Okay.
Yeah, and he went on and on about what a piece of shit they were. Right. And I've actually done a reaction video because he was talking about the Dan Wesson he bought. Then he showed like the photos of it, and I'm getting off track a little bit, but it's okay. And like it had Wilson Combat Starburst stocks on it. And then like he's like, and then I was shooting it at the range 3 days later, and he showed a photo of it, and it had factory Dan Wesson stocks, and it had a little bit of a different finish. and it had some scratches on it. So I think what he did is he stole a bunch of photos
Right.
of a specialist and cycled through them. Anyway,
That's Tooley.
I messaged him and I commented on the video. And of course, now he was an asshole to me. He changed the thumbnail.
Of course he was.
He was an asshole. He's like, "How petty are you? You know, to take your time to message me over this."
How about how fucking petty are you for stealing somebody else's photo, you dick? Jesus.
And I'm like, dude, that's my artistic. That's my artistic IP. I don't. If you want to use it, send me a check. Colt paid me about $1,200 to make that photo.
Right.
You don't get to use it for free.
Right.
And so, we went back and forth a little bit, and then it was over. That's fine. About a month ago, I saw it. It was again, and it was. I said Colt. Dan Wesson had done that one.
Sure.
Somebody had stole my Colt Anaconda photo, and had put it up. And so I messaged them, and 2 days later, I messaged them and commented. 2 days later, nothing. So I watched it, and it was obvious it was a completely AI generated. It was 5 revolvers you must have.
Okay. Jesus.
And it was a AI generated video.
Right.
And so I messaged them, commented. 2 days go by, nothing. I found their Facebook page where they had like 300 followers. I messaged them there. I waited a day, nothing. So I'm like, all right, I'll give you 3 days. And I've reached out everywhere. So I've reported on YouTube. It takes about a day for YouTube to do their, I think it was about a day and a half later. I had to provide proof it was my photo.
Sure.
So I sent YouTube a link to Range Hot. I'm like, here's where it was used.
I said, well, yeah, they work as proof. The fact that you have a website name and it's on there. I mean,
well, I sent them. They're like, "Where's the photo at?" So I sent them a link on rangehot.com. I've got a section called photography. So, and it's in that as well as it's in the article. So I sent them a link to the article, and I sent them a link to my photography page. And I was like, if you need anything past that, I've got the photo parked in Adobe Lightroom, and I can send you the metadata.
Right. There's the hardcore proof right there.
Right. Well, they messaged those people, and they didn't dispute it. So they gave them a strike, and they took their video down. About 20 minutes, which hey, fuck them. 20 minutes later, I get a damn message from Facebook, and they're like, you caused us this, and this. You caused us to get a strike. I'm like, this is all your own doing.
Yeah, right.
But
they're
like, what is it going to take to make this right? And I'm like, pay me. This is not a cell phone photo, Dave. This is one in the studio.
Yeah.
I've got hours and hours involved with, man. And I'm like, you got to pay me. He's like, how much? I said, $500. And it was a video that had gotten like 500,000 views.
Oh shit.
Yeah. And I'm like, $500. And the guy was like, oh, come up with a reasonable number.
Okay, fine, 1,200.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay, 700. You didn't like that one? Let's go 700.
Yeah.
And they have been messaging me and emailing me like every 3 or 4 days. I got an email when you sent me the link for this. I got an email from them, and they're a Bangladesh YouTube.
Oh God, they're just it's cranking out just shit.
They're just cranking out shit, and so what do you do?
We're gonna hit more into that. What you do is what you did. You report them like you did with YouTube.
I don't think I did wrong, and I don't, and I'm like, hey, give me the $500, or don't use my thumbnail.
Yeah,
because they're like, oh, here's a good photo. Right click, save as.
Mm-hmm.
Now I understand that there are photos out there with rights of use, like they've got and I've done it. I've saved photos off of Google. If it's like a handgun or a rifle on white, and it's like, if you need this, use it. That's not the actual term, but it's such a generic photo,
right?
That they're like, this is not my IP.
Right.
This is something that we did, yada, yada, yada. If you need stock photography for our rifle, here's one you can have.
Right.
I've done that. But you have permission there on the web. Now, a lot of times what I'll do is I'll screenshot it with the permission on there. So if anybody ever says anything, I'm like, oh, you had a disclaimer there. But I didn't do, and it gave them a strike on the YouTube channel, and they took the video.
Good.
YouTube said that I could go back and change my mind and tell them it's okay for them to use it, and they'll put the video back up. And I messaged the guy with YouTube, and I'm like, okay, look, they want to pay me, but they don't want to meet the number.
Right.
And the guy's like, I can't tell you what. He's like, I can't tell you what to do.
Yeah, ball's in your court at that point. If you want to take their payment, but
he's like, you do what you want to do with it. He said, if you decide you want them to get away with it or they pay you, then shoot us a message and say it's okay, and we'll upload it.
It's good they were that responsive. I mean, that's cool.
So I'm gonna stay at $700.
Yeah, no, I've got a buddy of mine. He's had his stuff routinely pulled by different people, and he calls them out on Instagram. I was like, hey, you using my shit? He was like, you don't even credit me for something? He's like, even if it's like a crappy your Instagram photo, he's like, you don't even credit me or tag me in it? He was like, dude, not cool. And unfortunately, that's the world we're going to get into. Like, you can only watermark it so damn much,
If the guy would have, if they'd have said, hey, Hunter, this is a great photo. Do you mind if I use it?
Right.
And you know what I'd have said? I'm like, that's fine. Somewhere in the video, give me credit. Say, hey, thanks to Hunter with a range shot. Right. And also in the description,
right,
give me credit.
Right.
And we're golden.
Nah, fucks out of Bangladesh. They don't give a damn about that. Just,
right.
Screw it.
Bangladesh, and they're just, and I watched the video from it. Was 5 revolvers you can't do without, or something so basic. And it was an AI generated text.
Right.
With
just,
AI
just clickbait. They're just click farming more or less.
Right.
Yeah.
And it was just like for every revolver that 5 revolvers, it was a photo. And that photo, and the video was like 6-8 minutes or whatever. And so they would have a series of photos as the
I want to watch it, but I don't want to give it any time, any more clicks to watch it.
Watch it. It's gone.
Oh, that's true. That's right. It's gone.
So fuck them.
Well, the other day I was pulling my pistols out of the safe, my VP9, my HK, and I had this nightstick on it. I'm gonna correct the zoom here as I see it. So basically, it's like a Streamlight TLR1 size.
Yeah,
it's like the same size as it. Works like holster compatibility. I mean, there's TLR1 and the nightstick. It's a little bit longer, and performance is pretty much about the same thing. I mean, it's almost identical to a Streamlight, but difference is like the knob itself. You can't really turn the knob by hand, and you need a flathead screwdriver to turn it. So that's kind of annoying. But then when I pulled it out, I clicked the little button. The buttons are more of like digital buttons, and I clicked them, and it was like, oh, it's dead. Well, that sucks. I barely use the damn thing. But it's then also locked in. You can't see that either. It's locked in with a Phillips head screw. So I've got to undo the screw first, then open the back up, change the battery out. So like,
can't do it on the fly in the field.
Yeah, it's not a quick change, and like that's just enough that it kind of annoys me. And here's the deal: price point, it's about the same as a Streamlight. The only reason I have this is because actually I got it on sale, so it was like, I want to say $30 or $40 less than a Streamlight. So I was like, oh, that's worth it. It's worth the deal with the couple headaches. But full price, I'd stick with Streamlight because I can quickly and easily take this thing and just twist it off.
Yeah.
Done. There, it's undone. Bam. And real quick, and I can get my battery compartment. Oh, look at that. Done. Battery compartment's open.
I got a TLR1 HL on my.
That's what this is, yeah. And it's an awesome light.
I've had mine for a number of years, and it's held up well.
I mean, this thing's held up. I mean, it's been on my VP9 for a long time. It's held up well, but it's just the fact that you can't quickly get it off. You can't quickly change the battery. Just kind of sucks a little bit. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's a minor, but like I said, I guess if you're paying full price for it, I don't think it's worth it. But if you get it on sale like I did for so 30, $40 off,
Nice.
That's kind of worth the money.
Well, what about like if you're your backup to your backup? It would be fine on something like that.
Yeah, no, it's fine in general. Like I said, it's just at the price point though. When these things are like, I think at full price, they're like $10 less than the Streamlight.
Oh yeah.
No, I'll get the Streamlight. But when you get it on sale, yeah, it's worth it as having, like I said, a backup light, backup for backup. Like I don't carry my VP9 as much anymore. I've been carrying the Echelon, so I put it on there. But yeah, it's just those annoyances, like the fact that, like I said, the battery's dead. So it's like, oh look, I got to replace the battery in this damn thing. Now it's like, I'll get to it when it's more convenient. I don't really care at this point.
You're whining about replacing batteries. I had to.
Yes, first world problems at their finest. Okay,
first world problem. I had to put 2 batteries in my 89, and so I went to Batteries Plus, and I got educated on batteries for diesel, old diesels that vibrate.
Okay, different style battery than they require, or
so. This is what I learned. So that 7.3 IDI is 21.5 to 1 compression. So it requires a minimum of 875 cold cranking amps.
Okay.
Which is a shit load. And there's only a couple battery manufacturers out there that do those.
Right.
And the guy was telling me that he's like, you need to put gel batteries in here like the Optima. Because your lead acid, he said these old IDI diesels, they vibrate so bad, you'll get a couple, 3 years out of a lead acid plate battery. So I'm like, all right, man, what do you recommend? And I bought these 2 batteries. Now, I walked in there with Chad, and Chad pointed to me and said, those are the 2 you had to buy.
And was he pointing the gel batteries?
Yeah. And I'm like, no. Those
you're not giving Chad some credit sometimes, huh?
He knows.
Okay.
Those fucking 2 batteries were $710 for 2 batteries.
Oh my God.
At $350 a piece.
Damn.
And Chad, he was smiling like a billy goat eating briars, and I'm like, how did you know I was going to have to get? He said, because I was in here 3 weeks ago getting batteries for my 7.3 Power Stroke. He said they had 3 they recommended. Now the guy, he recommended 3 at 3 different price points.
Sure.
It's like, you're going to get about 2 years out of this one, you get about 3 years out of this one, or you're going to get about 7 years out of this one. And they had corresponding warranties. Damn. So I was like, man.
Wow, batteries, man. Batteries are a bitch.
It took my breath away.
I mean, I was thinking, I'm gearing up right now. I've got that Moons Out 2025 is next weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have more updates on that probably next week. I don't have much right now. But last year, me and my buddy Ryan both went. We're both running Steiner D-balls. And I think what was the first night? We shot differently. Like I shot all my stuff with the media guys on Thursday. Then he shot Friday and Saturday. And I was actually just going to tag along with him and his squad. And the range is actually short, like manpower. And so they're like, dude, could you help us out? And I was like, yeah, sure. I was like, wait, you're asking me, rather than walking up and down this Appalachian mountain, you're asking me to walk on this flat range, follow a Humvee, reset a couple targets, and walk back. Do that all night long. That'll keep me warm. I'm totally game for that. That's fine. That's totally fine. But the first night, like I think he lost a contact, so he was totally out. His contacts were back at the hotel, so his first night got scrubbed. Second night, his battery went out in his D-ball, and his replacements weren't working either. And somebody else ended up giving him another IR light to at least use. And then I think he had another battery failure, I think, in his optic or something. Wow. And one of our buddies who was a Steiner guy, he was like, yeah, there's a problem. Here's your running, because the D-balls run off the 123A batteries. And he was using the Surefire ones. And come to find out, apparently the Surefire ones are not really that great of batteries. You use them in their lights, or for something like a D-ball, the power difference, you need to be running actual Energizer lithiums or the Duracell lithiums, not the Stream Lights, not the Surefires. It's like, as I'm pulling mine, checking, I'm like, oh, I got Energizer in mine. I'm good. Like, never mind. But you'd think just because you buy a lithium battery,
they're not all the same, are they?
No, not by a long shot.
I have what I guess some would consider a modest home security system, and there are a number of sensors that are wired, but there's a greater number of sensors that are not wired.
Right.
And when you go to replace the batteries, they're very specific on what battery. They're like,
right.
Use the high output. Now I'm paraphrasing because I don't remember.
Sure.
But it's like that. It's like if you use a lesser battery, expect poor performance.
Yeah.
But the Energizer lithium high use battery was like what they recommend.
Yeah, and those tend to be my go-tos as Energizers in general.
They're all silver, right? They're silver.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, I'll use Duracells like the 2032, the coin batteries. I use Duracells for those. That's fine. But like Duracells alkalines, man, I've had more Duracells alkaline batteries crap out in remote controls, kids' toys,
really
corrode. Oh God, I don't trust Duracell alkalines for shit. So I'm like almost all Energizer, unless it's like a 2032. I'll use a Duracell for that, or even the 123As. Duracell seem to be fine too, but alkalines, nah, those things they have a tendency to shit out on me bad.
Okay,
it's annoying because I tried buying like Sam's Club, going cheap alkaline batteries for that, for remote controls like TV remotes. Nope, those things corrode and turn to shit. So it's like I spend the money, buy good batteries. I mean,
yeah, absolutely.
Seriously,
Candy
sucks,
by the big pack
of good ones.
Yeah.
Good
batteries.
Yeah, that's fine. Big pack, small pack, whatever you need. But yeah, buy good batteries, man. That shit's. It sounds stupid, but it's for real.
I tell people, if you got a skimp, buy cheap paper towels, man.
Right.
Buy cheap paper towels, buy cheap toilet paper.
Right. Not flashlights. You're putting in $100 flashlight or a $1,200 laser. Don't put cheap batteries and shit like that.
And that's I'm going to go even one step further, where people are, they get their
Oh,
carry gun, and they're buying shit ammo or cheap magazines.
Oh God.
Or they got a really nice rifle, and they're going to put this Simmons $39. Yeah.
I think that's double tap. I think. Maybe.
Is that double tap?
I think usually with Colt a lot of times.
Yeah.
Colt. Yeah, double taps. I bought them at GOS a couple years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, that's for defense. That's my most favorite.
That's my primary carry mag for my HK.
Yeah, I'm like, come on, guys. You bought this really nice rifle, and you're putting a Simmons, a $39 1x9 by 40 Simmons on it.
I will give that a little more leeway if it holds 0 and you make the shots you need. I kind of don't care. I understand the philosophy of glass, but I've run of least cheap red dots on AKs that have held 0. Like a what's the one I have on my 7.62 AK? It's a Spikes Tactical. They don't make fucking optics. It's just some Chinese cheap optic.
Right?
It holds 0, man. It holds 0 and it works. So I will give a little leeway on optics. But if you buy a nice rifle and you buy an Amazon $20 sling, come on.
Man, I am probably an unintentional optic snob.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, if it ain't Leupold, it ain't shit. But I spent some time with the guys at Night Force at SHOT.
Good
and
shit.
They were very accommodating. I'm gonna do some work with them. But
didn't I tell you to reach out to those guys and talk to them?
You did.
Pretty sure I did.
You did, but my buddy Zach was like, I talked to Zach before I cold called him. He goes, "Oh, I got a good friend works there."
Nice.
So It's like my buddy sayings I've heard my whole life. It'll work until it doesn't.
Right.
And when it doesn't work, it's probably when you're going to need it. So,
Problem.
I like to stack the deck in my favor as much as possible. And so, if I've got the opportunity to, put a $300 optic, and with that said, I did a lot of Riton reviews. You've heard of Riton optics?
Yep, I know of them.
And they're decent. They are decent. Now they got sold. I knew the owner.
I thought they disappear. I've not heard anything about them. Like, so I guess they got sold. Makes sense.
They had a great big old booth at SHOT
This year.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But they got sold maybe 3 years ago. I knew the owner, him and his wife. It was a guy and his wife owned it, and they were putting out pretty good stuff. And then it got sold to like a conglomerate.
Right.
And I checked them out, and I could tell that it was not the same as what they were doing before. And so I severed ties with them. I'm like, I don't want to be that guy. I'm not going to be an asshole, but I feel like it's best if we just
go our own ways.
They're like, we'll send you some test optics, and I'm like, no, thank you.
Well, but there's another thing too with the optics in particular. Batteries, not so much. There's a ton of cheap batteries and good batteries, but optics though, we've gotten a lot of really decent, cheap or affordable optics now though too. That like back in the day, what you got was some unnamed Chinese thing, Barska, BSA's line.
BSA.
And if it worked, fine, it worked like you said. But when it's going to fail on you, it's going to fail miserably on you, and you're going to be out of your glass. But I think now though, you've got a lot more companies that they're putting out a pretty decent product for the money. So you do have a lot more cheaper options. But if you want good shit though, still, if you want good shit, go buy good shit.
I was at the Leopold booth at SHOT, and this was 5 or 6 years ago. And I was talking to a guy that I knew there, and we were just talking about what they had, yada, yada, yada. And he said, hold on, Hunter, hold on just a second, man. I'll be right back. Okay. Normally they're not like that. Normally when you're engaged, I'm like, bigger name walked in the booth or whatever. So he walks off. He's polite about it. He said, just give me a minute, man. I'll be right back. Yes, sir. And I watch him, and I'm like, who is he going to go talk to that's bigger than me? Which everybody's bigger than me. I don't mean like that. I'm just like,
yeah, but
you know what I'm saying? I'm just curious,
Yes.
And he walks over, and there's two. I'm not going to say they were Chinese, but they were Asian people
scoping out their stuff.
And the guy had his cell phone camera out, and just imagine the optic is floating here, and he had a cell phone, and he was filming it like this, and then he would do like this, and he would
film the shit out of it,
and he was doing this, and he did like a 360 all the way around it, filming front, back, and I'm watching, and the guy walks up, and he starts talking to him, and the guy's act stupid. He's like, let me see your phone, and so he's showing him, and he goes, delete, empty trash, and the guy's like, what the hell? And he was getting a little irate, and a couple other guys with Leopold shirts on walked up, and it's like, you got to go, you can't be here.
Yeah.
So I get back, and the guy's like, hey, I'm really sorry. I had to take. I'm like, what the fuck, man? You just, the guy was over there taking a picture of your optics, and you
it wasn't
deleted his shit. That's kind of fucked up.
No, that's good. He was getting ready to clone that shit.
This is my ignorance. And he goes, no, Hunter. He was going to clone that. He's like, I think this was when the Mark IV had come out, and he goes, that's our Mark IV. 4 by 24 by 56. Yeah, that's a $1,800. No, these numbers I'm probably making up.
Sure, yeah. Whatever, doesn't matter. It's a story,
right? And he goes, that's a $1,800, tactical line. It's our middle of the road or top middle. And he goes, they'll come in here and they'll film this. And he said, within a month, you can buy that scope It says Leupold on it
Yeah.
in a Leupold box from Amazon for like $2.99. And externally, it'll be made in the USA, everything.
All the proof markings.
It'll look. He's like, you can't tell the difference.
Yeah.
And he said, but as soon as you look through it, it's
the clarity, the reticle,
cheap Chinese glass.
Yeah.
And I'm like, come on. He goes, man. He said, there's so many counterfeit. And he's like, it ain't just us. He said, it's all of them.
It's all of them.
They will clone that shit in a heartbeat and then put it out. And you won't be, unless you work for Leupold, you won't know.
No, it's so good. It was funny. I stopped over to HK to see somebody, or see a buddy HK at SHOT this year, like on Friday last day, and they were telling me they had to constantly be running off Chinese guys that were the airsoft people. They were wanting to do one-to-one clones because they know in the end it's not just about cloning the gun for airsoft, But HK does have licensing agreements for airsoft guns. It's because they're going to clone some of the shit, like the handguards and shit, and sell carbon copies of shit online. Because an HK handguard's expensive as shit, but now you can buy the exact same one. It comes on the new A4 variant, the 416, for $100 on Amazon because it's from China.
And a lot of people don't realize that.
No.
How bad that hurts.
Yeah.
The manufacturer. Because I was talking to the guys at Leupold, and I'm like, don't get me wrong, I understand it's bad. I'm like, all right, man, I totally get why you did that, but let's talk a little bit about that. Why are you so adamant? And here again, I'm gonna be kind of making up some numbers. Ballparking. He goes, well, Hunter, that particular scope that we're debuting here at this SHOT Show, whatever it was, he's like, we got 500-600 man hours in it.
I was just saying, how much R&D and shit is behind that gun?
We got $3 million
right
of R&D. Testing, tuning, retesting, retuning. He said, so we have to recoup that money first before Leupold ever makes a dime. We need to sell enough of these optics to make $300 million, like $6 million or $3 million or whatever.
Yeah, make the product pay for itself.
Right, and then when we've sold enough of this optic to make $3 million, at that point, then that's when we're making money. Yeah. And and he goes, all it would take is just a couple models to get cloned.
Yeah.
That don't sell. And he goes, we're in a bad way. We're laying people off.
Yeah. No, that's just real.
I totally get why he did it, but I didn't realize to what depth it hurt.
Right.
And once it's on the market,
it's crazy how. Well, look at I don't think you follow some of the shit, but like the GBRS guys made their one optic mount. It's like more than a 193 mount. It's like the optics here and it has an arm that kicks out and has a Picatinny rail plate to mount your laser, like D-ball or your PEC, and you put your optic on top. It's crazy high. It is more for just like the heads up shooting bit, but they built their mount, and it retailed for like $400. Don't get me wrong. I looked at the thing. I was like, that's fucking stupid to spend that kind of money, for a micro red dot mount and a laser base. I get what it is, but I think it's dumb. But at the same time, if you like it and it fits for you, fine, whatever, do it. But within a month, you could get same aluminum Chinese copies online for like $70, $50, $60.
Right.
And it's like I bought one to try it out. The cheek or chin weld was too high for me. I was like, nope, not. That's where I kind of like in that sense of, it's like, if you look at these taller mounts, especially for red dots, and you're like, God, I don't know if I want to go that high, because like they talk about the whole heads up thing where it's in your pocket and the optic is here at your eye. You're not bringing your head down or bringing the rifle up, But when the optic mount itself is cost as much as the optic, man, I'm gonna kind of go to Amazon, look for a knockoff to try it, knowing that like it probably won't have the recoil block, knowing the screws are shitty in it, or didn't have the right interface system. But then I'm like, this is sweet. I will turn around and buy the real deal thing. I did that with a what's the real tall popular one? Unity fast mount. It's a 193 optic height for like T2 style dots, aim points. it's an expensive mount. I bought a knockoff one. I was like, yeah, I like the way this works. I'll buy the real deal and have real screws, locking blocks, everything to fit right. Because come on, the really good industry is expensive as shit, and nothing sucks more than to buy something, mount it to your equipment, you don't like it, doesn't fit for you, and then what do? You gonna try and sell it used,
Right.
I
get it.
But I'm also saying my case of buying a knockoff to lead into buying the real deal, that's not probably that many people. That's probably a small majority, or small margin. I mean,
I generally, of course, now I don't have a wife and a kid, or wife and kids, and a mortgage and a truck payment, so I have more disposable income than the average person.
Right.
But I'll generally buy. For example, I got a Leupold Mark IV. It's an 8.5 by 32 by 56. I think I got those numbers right. Nice optic. I mean, it's a Hubble telescope. It's what I got mounted on that damn 22 arc from
the Range Tools Predator.
And when I asked for the optic, I neglected to ask for mounts. Which I'm like, I call Leupold and I'm like, hey, I didn't ask for mounts. And so I'm like, well, I'm not gonna, I got the optic in. I'm like, fuck, if I call them now or email them now and I'm like, oh, I need mounts for this, they'll send me mounts, but it's going to be another couple, 3 weeks.
Right.
Which I'm not complaining, but I'm like, I'm ready to get this. I wanted to get that review done before shot.
Right.
So, I called up a couple places and told them, and it's a 34 millimeter tube.
Okay.
So it's fat around. Yeah. And I called up,
like Warren,
Carolina. Oh, yeah. No, I mean, I wanted a local store I could walk in.
Okay.
So I called up Carolina Gun Runners outside of Raleigh, and they're like, we got something to make it work. Nice. And I'm like, do you have Leupold rings? He said, yes, but we've got other stuff too. Okay, so I went there, and the guy had pulled me the Leupold Mark IV rings. 2 rings high was $178 for 2 rings. Yeah. And I'm looking at those, and he goes, now I got these in Redfield or whatever. He showed me like 5 more that were like a half and a third of the cost.
Right.
And I said, no, dude, I won't fucking Leupold. They said they're $180 for 2 rings, man. I've got these over here that are 70. And I said, they're not as good. They're maybe they are.
So, sometimes the mounts, I gotta question it. Like, I really gotta question it.
But here's the thing with that Leupold mount. I set it and forget it. I know that son of a bitch is going to be there, and it's going to be right, tight, and out of sight without any issues, problems, or discrepancies.
Yeah.
I buy an $80 pair of rings, and if something's fucked up with it, now I'm back at the store swapping them out, hoping, okay, I hope these are good.
Or okay, so what if you picked up a Riton and you needed rings for it? Then what do you do? Are you put Leupold rings on a Riton?
Well, they always send Riton.
No. But regardless of that, I'm saying if they sent you a scope and you forgot to ask for rings, they forgot to send rings, and you need to get done, same situation. So you're going to go to a local store. Then what do you do? What kind of rings are you going to grab for it?
I'm assuming you want me to be honest.
Yeah.
Fuck. I'm gonna buy shit rings. I mean, not shit rings,
but you're not buying Leupold rings.
That's what I'm getting at. Leupold because, and now here's the reason too, because I'm not gonna keep that Riton optic. I'm gonna keep that Leupold. So, I
get it, man. Like I question a lot of times when you see, like, my first thought, look at different people's rings, is the weight. The cheaper rings are usually heavier than shit.
They were heavy.
Well, there's the thing though. Like, no matter what, for a bigger scope, it's going to be heavy. But when you look at brand X versus brand Y, if they're the same size ring, but this one is a fraction of the weight and they're double the cost, I get why they whatever their engineering and design is, that they are using a different aluminum. They're super lightweight, but they're going to work. But the one that's half the price is heavier than shit. I'm going to go with the lighter option just because that shit just gets annoying when it's that heavy.
I always buy steel rings.
Well, I don't care material. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I buy steel. I like steel rings. But now I'm also not building hunting rifles. This rifle goes from my car or my truck to the bench, and that's where it spends its day, on the bench. It's not getting toted around.
Right.
So I like a heavy gun. So when you throw it in that bench rest and it's got some mass to it, it kind of hangs around. It's steady.
Yeah, I get you.
So, but I'm different than most folks. Most folks are looking for lightweight.
Why do you think I asked you about doing this? Because we're so damn different. We have completely different tastes and likes in this shit. How we actually agree on anything actually shocks me half the time.
Well, but okay, I'll give it to you like this, man. I'm a fan of High Point. Blows my fucking mind that I like High Point. Because if I had never shot one, I'd have been like, no.
Right.
But
that's typical snob attitude too.
Exactly. Guilty. But people, the High Point fan base is pretty loyal.
Yes.
But when I publish a review or a video on YouTube under Range Hot, and I get some FUD, some snob that gets on there, like, how can you write a positive review about this ugly piece of shit?
And it's like, have you ever shot one, pal?
And I go, look, man, okay, I took it out at 25 yards from a rest. It's grouping 4 inches. That's what iron sights. That's about as good as I can shoot. I shot 400 rounds through it of ball and jacket hollow point.
Right.
Locked the slide back to the rear every time.
Right.
Nary a malfunction, nary a misfeed, nary a problem.
Right. So what was there to bitch about?
So the only High Point that I ever had trouble with is the 10 millimeter pistol you sent me.
Mm-hmm.
It would not reliably lock the slide back until 4 magazines were through it. It was intermittent. Like the first mag, it didn't. The second mag, it did. And I think like the third mag, it didn't. And then the fourth mag, it did. And then after the fourth mag, it forever locked the slide. And I'm going to chalk that up to, what, maybe there was a piece of trash, a piece of garbage, perhaps that some of the finish got in one of the rails,
something that was just blocking it up until you wore it off, and
with the
broke, so to speak.
It self-cleansed, and so it's fine. But I mean, I'm like, yeah, is this High Point C9 ugly as fuck? Absolutely. but if I want to harp on this, man. I'm very blessed, but not as blessed as I am with the income that I have, and so we all have the right to defend ourselves.
Right.
So I'm thankful that High Point makes a gun. You can go buy a High Point pistol for $200, $250.
And it's gonna run
brand new, and it's gonna be ugly. You ain't gonna be like showing your buddy, check out this beautiful fucking High Point. No, you ain't gonna. But when the shit hits the fan and you guys start putting hate down range, who gives a flying fuck what it looks like as long as it's working?
Yeah.
And on top of that, it's made in the USA. Big deal for me. And you got a lifetime transferable warranty.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
what happens to that gun? It's always good. It's always covered.
And so if you're arguing against that, you're totally just setting yourself up as a separatist.
Yeah.
I'm a snob. I deserve better.
And some people are happy to be that way too, though. Some are happy to be a snob. They don't care. They're like, yeah, I still don't believe it. I don't want to believe it. I'm not going to try it.
But
that's fine.
Gun owners, we got enough damn inmates. We damn sure don't need to be infighting.
Dude, but that's our biggest thing, though. The infighting is so bad.
It is. I mean, 45 versus 9mm. I mean, I've seen fucking people want to go to blows over that shit.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
AK versus AR.
Why are you so wrapped up in this? We know the 45 auto is superior. Get with it. No.
Here we go.
I tell you, that was true up until probably about, I don't know, mid 2000s.
Yeah.
When you had manufacturers like Hornaday and Double Tap and Corbon.
Yeah.
They started cranking on this 9mm shit, and they started getting
R&D in 9mm. Yes. Well, that's what killed 40 cal was because the 9mm came back so hard like that. I mean,
and Double Tap makes some 147 grain plus P 9mm that is and all Sammy spec, and it's a damn barn burner.
Right.
And I'm thinking, okay, now you've got something that's going to compete. Ballistic, of course, handguns, regardless of what you think, human beings are hard to kill.
Yeah.
You want to kill a man, theoretically speaking, shoot that motherfucker with a rifle.
Yeah.
Hey, handgun, it's a compromise.
Yeah, there's so many stories of guys using the personal cops I've known that had buddies that got into firefights with, whether it was a 40 cal with whatever hollow point it was, and they hit the guy in the head, and the shot ran around his skull and took it out. Not once, not twice, but like 3 times.
Right.
Until the dude started putting body shots into him until he emptied his mag, and the dude finally bled out and died, but he was still fighting him the entire time. So it's like, I don't give a shit. Like you said, if you want to put him down, use a rifle. If you've got a handgun, you're in for a fight. It could be.
Yeah, it ain't a push. People say, "Oh well, the 45 auto has knockdown power." Now I'm a 45 auto. I live and breathe and bleed 45 automatic. But what is knockdown power? What does that mean? Oh, I shoot that motherfucker and he will fall down. Okay, you understand physics.
No. I think people that truly still believe the knockdown power are still the last new film they watched was Last Man Standing with Bruce Willis.
Oh my god. Great movie.
No, it's no.
Yeah.
No. Get your head out of your ass.
I loved it.
Hold on. That is a horrible movie. Horrible movie. I love it. But it's a bad movie. It's terrible.
How about this?
2.7 1911s. He probably dumps 15, 20 rounds out of each gun before reloading.
It's entertaining.
Dudes, it isn't. No. That's the thing. Acknowledging that something is a bad movie and enjoying it. There's plenty of bad movies.
Okay.
But that movie's a prime example. That's where people are like, oh, see, that's 45 knockdown power. Look how that dude goes flying through the doorway. I'm like, that's not how this shit works. It's not any of this works.
If you shot somebody with a gun and it knocked them through the hallway, then guess what? You're going back the same distance. Physics, brother. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction.
Yeah.
So
it's like with shotguns, like shotguns are the magic tool of sending dudes, flying 50 yards away when you hit them at, point blank with it. No, you're gonna fuck them up. Nobody goes flying and tumbling away. That's just Hollywood cool bullshit.
It looks cool. You see a guy get shot with a shotgun, and he crumples up, does a backflip. Like, hell yeah. Not realistic.
Here's something I want to touch on since we're talking movie guns, or movies and firearms, but movie guns themselves. What's one or several favorite movie guns for you? Because I could lay them off a fucking list, dude. I mean, I have one movie gun in my hand that is a more recent one, but
you just dragged the fucking FUD out of me, don't you? I mean, I hate you, Dave.
Let's hear it, bud. Oh, let me guess. Dirty Harry, the Smith & Wesson, huh? No, wait. No, you're too much of a Colt guy for that. Let's see.
Saving Private Ryan. There were so many Colt 1911s in that.
Oh God, shut
Man.
the fuck up.
I mean, you asked me.
Yeah, see, I go movie guns. I think like John Wick, the original P30L with the compensator.
Here's the thing about John Wick.
It's fucking awesome.
It is equally as impossible as Last Man Standing.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, okay. I love you, Dave. I do. I love you like we're kin. Okay, but let me just sprinkle a little reality here on the keyboard. John Wick walks into a bar and there's 80 armed Russians with machine guns and handguns.
I don't think you've watched the first one in a while.
And he kills everybody. And then walks out. I mean, bro.
No. I'm not saying the series as a whole hasn't gotten more far-fetched with the bulletproof suits and all. But the first one's still pretty solid and good. It's nowhere near
And then I watched it I skipped the one part.
Nowhere near the comedic level of Last Man Standing.
It's close, bro. I mean,
no, it's just a bullshit.
It's close. Here's the thing. There's like 40 people in this nightclub.
Okay. Fuck all that. I'm talking about I don't care about that. I'm talking about the gun. I'm talking about this.
Okay.
This is badass. This is his pistol in the original is badass.
What is that? What the fuck is that?
As an HK P30L with a compensator, a massive compensator.
What's it chambered in?
9mm.
Now, let me ask you this. Here's a FUD question.
Yeah.
How many PSI have you got to run in a 9mm for that compensator to actually do its job?
You got to run some hot shit.
I mean, because the only handguns that I know that really, really benefit from a break like that is like they're chambered in Super 38 and they're loaded.
I bet I could probably safely run 9mm major through this thing with this comp on it. I mean, because they say 9mm major, you don't want to run through polymer frame guns, but considering once that round's locked in, I mean, it's an H&K. I'll fanboy it and say their shit's built, tough as shit. So you go that route, and then with this comp, it would probably run it just fine. But I have to run hot shit through this thing. I found some 124s like NATO spec that run pretty good with it. What I hand load is 115s, but they're hot as shit. They're tight group. They're maxed out on pressure to get to cycle. So no, this thing, because this thing is so damn big, does require some high pressure shit.
So with all
I didn't buy it for practicality. Come on, it's almost as long as the damn Disney guy. I bought it because it looks cool as shit, dude.
With all love and respect, that thing is a fucking abortion.
No, this is fucking.
It is hideous.
It's fucking beautiful.
It is fucking hideous. I mean, I look at that, I'm like, it's hideous. If you're like, Hunter, I'm gonna give you this. I want you to have it. I'm gonna mail it to you. I would call the ATF and have them change my FFL number.
It's about time to wrap it up. So I think
Hunter. I mean, it's just. I like.
Okay, fine. Give me a movie gun. Don't say Saving Private Ryan because of all the fucking 1911s. No. I mean like say Dirty Harry. You're calling out because it's a specific gun. Give me something like that.
Are we talking about gunplay or guns featured?
I don't get. We'll say guns featured. Fuck, gunplay is completely different.
Guns featured.
Like Aliens for me. Aliens, another one. The M41A pulse rifle, which was a Tommy gun with an 870 with SPOS parts over it. That's one of the greatest sci-fi guns ever. One day I'll build one, but it's a money pit and the thing will weigh 20 pounds. It'll be stupid to shoot it. RoboCop's Auto 9, the Beretta 93R. I'm going to build one of those in 92F. Why? Because I have always loved that thing. It's awesome. Those are some cool ass movie guns, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So give me something.
Well,
it don't have to be some like sci-fi and built up. It could be like our buddy Patrick. He has the 1911s from what was the Keanu Reeves movie? Street Kings. It's a very specific 1911 that was featured, and it just looks good.
Right.
So what do you got? Before I cut you off again.
Right.
Come on, what you got? What you got? What you got?
All right, I'm gonna when you first mentioned this, a movie popped in my head, and I'm like, no, I'm gonna say Save a Private Ryan because I felt like that's keeping my FUD to a low simmer.
No, it's just like the greatest war movie ever.
It is, but if
that
you
and Black Hawk Down, I mean,
if you got to nail me to, I'm gonna name two.
I can name any damn one. I'm just asking, what's a couple like movie guns you
Quickly
really
Down Under, man?
Oh
Quickly
shit!
Down Under. With that, what was it? It was a 45-70.
I was thinking it was a 4570, wasn't it?
No, but it was like a 45-110. That it was a, oh God, and I should know this because they're making replicas of them, but my God, they're like $4,000.
Nah, that doesn't surprise me.
Quickly Down Under.
Shiloh Sharp's 1874 long range rifle.
45-110 or 50-110?
I'm trying to pull it up on the screen here. Oh shit! Minimize my other screen.
Oh,
40. Okay, you're right. 45-110.
45-110.
So that 540 grain paper patch bullet.
Paper patch too. Now you're
Jesus Christ. Don't get me wrong. Cool movie, cool gun, but yeah, it was pretty funny.
Paper patch. I love it, man. I love that old shit, man. One of the best. Okay, fucker. I got a question for you. You're gonna hate my answer.
What you said you're asking me a question. So
I'm gonna ask you a question, but then I'm gonna answer it as well.
Yeah. Spit it out.
What would you say one of the best movie scenes, firearm related, is?
Several. One of my absolute tops, I think, would be the downtown LA shootout in Heat.
Solid choice.
But beyond that whole movie is fucking phenomenal. I think I was thinking this the other day. I went on like my own personal tirade. I just recorded it. That there are so many people that are fans of that scene and not of the movie as a whole. It's like, no, the whole, even the non-gun shit in that movie. And then that spiraled me into the whole Michael Mann movies, Last of the Mohicans, Thief, Miami Vice, Public Enemies, like
Pacino and De Niro.
Oh God, that's
which, I don't give a fuck.
That scene, fucking phenomenal.
But that whole movie, I actually watched it a few months ago.
As did I.
And man,
I finished the book, the sequel book.
When old boy pulls up, to meet his wife, and she's on the balcony with the FBI in the apartment, and she goes, he drives off.
Yeah, I mean, that whole movie is so good, and there's so many people. I think they look at it just for the gunplay. Don't get me wrong, that is still some of the best movie gunplay ever, but that whole movie is just fucking cool.
And those little Colt Commandos that they had in the bank robbery.
733. That's why I built this thing.
Man, those little Commandos.
That's why I built this thing. 11.5 inch.
The Colt Commandos is a 10 point.
They weren't Colt Commandos. They were set Colt 733s.
They were not Commandos?
They were not Commandos. They were the 11.5 733 model.
Oh, I thought they were Commandos.
No.
Because I got the 6933, which is
Commandos are cool too.
Commando.
Yeah, Commandos are cool too, but it was 733s.
Yeah, I liked the scene toward the end of True Grit when John Wayne has got the Winchester 92 and he kills Bruce Dern, and then they shoot Dollar, and then Glenn Campbell gets him with the I think it was I should have studied.
Okay, so I know I've seen it, but I'm not a John Wayne fan, so I have no recollection. But I've seen the remake. I like the remake with Jeff Bridges. I thought it was cool.
That's not a remake.
Oh God. Okay.
That's not a remake.
Yes, it is.
No. That's here again. This is some other timeline that you've experienced that's irrelevant to my life. uh, and I hate to be so close-minded, but I watched that shit, and I was like, "What the fuck is this?" It's awful. But
I'd like to compare the guns. Yeah, if they were pretty much the same, if they're a little different from version to version, that'd be interesting.
Are you talking about the True Grit?
Yeah.
I don't know what they running at. John Wayne carried a Winchester Model 92, if memory serves. And
From IMFDB says single action army Colt Walker 1847 and then Colt New Service mock up. That's just what it says.
yeah, that's the new service. No, that can't be right. I'm talking about his lever gun.
Oh, 92, yeah, 1892. So you said,
yeah. You know, another really good series.
The guns are different from movies to book. They are different, or from movie to movie. They are different. Anyways, go ahead. Yeah.
Did you ever watch Longmire?
I did not.
Really?
I did not. I heard it was pretty good, but no, I never saw it.
Longmire was phenomenal. It was phenomenal. I really enjoyed that. But you know, the old Walt Longmire, he carried a 1911 and a Winchester Model 94.
Rally.
So, you know, I mean, the only thing that made that cool if he was carrying a 45-70.
Oh, Jesus.
You know, but shooting people would 45-70 is just frowned upon. They're like, that's a little hot for what you're doing there, sir. But good topic, man. Really good topic, you know.
Oh, dude, I could go off on movie guns and movie scenes like no other. I could tell you another one I'll throw out there. The Way of the Gun. You ever seen that?
No.
The Way of the Gun with Ryan Phillippe, Benicio del Toro, Nikki Cat. God, who else? What's the one chick? She was in Dust Till Dawn. Not Selma Hayek. The Juliette Lewis.
Oh, Juliette Lewis. Man, I had such a crush on her when I was
growing up. Oh, I can't stand her.
What? You know what I like about her most? She's about 15% trashy. And
I'm not surprised. Way the Gun was from 2000. It's got some really good gunplay in it. 1911s. Main dudes carry 1911s. And the next two dudes carry USPs actually, which is even kind of funnier and cool.
HK USP. They're like this big, right? This big.
Okay, and again, it's not time to wrap it up. So,
as you can see,
the Way of the Gun is actually the Way of the Gun's on Tubi for free, so you can watch it for free. Check it out.
I got Tubi.
Just watch it. I don't want to say anymore. Just watch it.
I'll watch it.
It's a badass flick. Yeah, just watch it.
I would watch it again.
Yeah, you should definitely watch this weekend. But also at that point, we probably should wrap it up. We're running about an hour and a half here.
We always try to keep this an hour, and it always runs an hour and a half.
And that's fine. I mean, it's just a matter of how late do you really want to stay up.
Oh, I got
definitely movie shit. We can go on for fucking forever on some of this shit.
How about this? If you would do me a favor, make a note to remind me, please. Let's pick up on movie guns and movie scenes next time. That'll give me a week to kind of get my brain out. I've got a list of them, and I'm going through them, and I'm like, fuck, that's a Western, that's a Western.
And see, my Westerns are pretty much like 2000s and newer. Like, well, other than, say, Young Guns. Like the True Grit remake, the 310 to Yuma remake. I guess Unforgiven's 90s, so I guess it's fair, but like old Westerns, Eastwood ones, but beyond that, not a lot of recollection.
You've seen Tombstone.
Oh, Tombstone's fucking great. That's a classic.
Tombstone.
That's a modern classic.
I hate to say this, and I know we're running long, so I'm going to make this point, and I'm going to be done. If it's not the best Western ever made, it's in the top 3.
Yeah, I hold it to me. I hold it higher than Unforgiven by a long shot.
I do too.
Unforgiven's good, but I think Tombstone's way better.
Tombstone is probably, man, and I'll tell you who makes it is
Everybody,
Val Kilmer playing Doc Holliday though.
everybody.
Yes. Now Sam Elliott did a really
Kurt Russell's fucking great.
Kurt
Val
Russell.
Kilmer's fucking great. Michael Bean's fucking great. Powers
Kevin-
Booth's fucking great. I mean, even Heston's little cameo is fucking great. Everybody in it is fucking great.
And historically, it's pretty close to what happened from what I heard.
I've honestly never read too much into that just because I enjoy the movie so damn much. I don't want to like taint it with being it super Hollywood shit, you know. But honestly, the Kevin Costner White Earp movie came out like what, a year or two after, and it was actually pretty fucking close.
It was awful.
It was totally different story, but like when it hit the Tombstone marks though, it's pretty damn similar.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, I did enjoy Dennis Quaid's take on Val Kilmer as well too. It was still pretty funny and entertaining. Not Val Kilmer cool, but it was good.
Val Kilmer is, and I hate it.
Val Kilmer looks like Doc Holliday.
Did you ever? Last thing, I'm sorry, I promise. Did you see the second Top Gun?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Oh, my kid's obsessed with it. I've seen it too many times because of him.
All right,
and it's great. And it's fucking great. If you don't like it, you're wrong.
No. I mean, when he punched out at Mark 10 point something and lived, I'm like, okay, right, whatever. But to see Val Kilmer as Iceman,
it's great.
Even for just those fleeting moments,
it's great.
It brought back a similar nostalgia as the Pizza Hut
too. And he looked good too.
Yeah, and he did, man. And he got throat cancer.
Yeah, I think he's clear, but he still has or maybe has a healing trach. I think.
Bless his heart. What a phenomenal actor. But anyway, I know.
No. Nope. I'm gonna go one more now on you.
Okay, that's fine, brother.
I'm pretty sure it's on Amazon Prime. It's a documentary about him, about Val Kilmer, and his one son narrates it. And dear God, does his son sound just like him?
Is it good?
Yeah, it's worth watching.
All right.
Yeah,
I saw it, and it's in my list, but I haven't watched it yet.
Yeah, it's worth your time.
All right.
Yeah, let's hit back up on some movie guns next week. Plus, I think I have a couple new things to share with you.
Okay.
Something I got coming in Tuesday that I'm going to use for the Moons Out match. But beyond that,
I'm really, really close to finishing the review on the High Point 45 auto pistol.
Nice. It'll probably be out before the guns are actually out.
So, and I'm dragging my feet on it, but I'm having a really, really lot of fucking fun with this. So,
well, I can tell you, I'm getting an optic in Tuesday, and I think Wednesday I'm going to take it on the 995 I'm shooting for Moons Out to go zero it, because then I leave Friday morning for the match, and I'll get there Friday afternoon and basically change clothes and gear up to shoot Friday night and then Saturday night. So it's going to be a fast-paced rat race to get this gun ready for this match.
Well, I look forward to it, man. I really do. I look forward to hearing what you got to say. Maybe you could come up with a couple reviews about it.
I intend to. When I asked for the optic, I told him I would do a review on it as well, too. So
awesome.
Yeah. So, all right. Close out. Where can you be found at, man?
Rangeout.com is really about the best way to find me online. YouTube, rangeout.com.
I say, and I'll have links. I just did the last video I posted today. I tagged you in it, and I put our links below in the description, and I'll start doing that because I don't know, I'm doing this shit, totally slacking at it. Same thing. My links will be in there as well, but livefire-media.com. You can find everything from there, from YouTube, Rumble, Twitter, Instagram, the whole gambit. So, all right. Till next time, brother.
Thoroughly enjoyed it.
Peace.
Later, man.